Welcome, Lund loyalists, to John Lund Unleashed. Those watching on YouTube, on the John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective channels. Viewers on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and Lundos listening to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. John Lund Unleashed, brought to you by 𝐟𝐸𝐵 Sports Medicine. Got pain? Check out our revolutionary stem cell treatments. And guys, if low T is bringing you down, 𝐟𝐸𝐵 Sports Medicine can put you back in the game. Now all juiced up and ready to go, here's Johnny.
I'm just getting you warmed up. That is Rafael Devers. That's his old team, the Boston Red Sox. Those are a lot of balls that will probably fall into 𝐬𝐵𝐞𝐿, but that's okay. Great hitter. Great hitter. And Buster. Look at that's on Verlander. Buster. Front office. Standing ovation. Farhan who? Farhan never could have pulled this off. Look at that swing. 28 years old. The superstar that they were looking for, Willy Adames, was one thing. Rafael Devers is a totally different animal, and he's coming to your San Francisco Giants. Want to get your thoughts on this Monday morning. Thank you for joining us, but I just wanted to start off. Let's just play these bombs. That's dead center. That's out at Oracle Park. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be doing, oh, yeah, a lot of home runs. I don't care. I don't care about any of that. What the message sends, episode 166. I'm jumping into this thing because I'm so excited about it. But let's get into things. But it's going to be a whole Rafael Devers show. What it means for the Giants, what it means for Buster, what it means for the front office. I don't think they should be done, to be completely honest with you. I know that's being very greedy. But I'll explain why, and I'll explain why this is a great deal too. And I don't care if he's a DH. Shohei Ohtani's a DH. I know that Shohei Ohtani, by the way, is going to start tonight for the Dodgers against the Padres. I'll do some shorts later because there was a huge trade. Desmond Bain goes from Memphis to Orlando. That's a huge thing. Shohei's going to pitch tonight for the first time as a Dodger. That's a huge thing. But as far as Giants fans are concerned, the biggest trade in the team's history. Yeah, that's not just saying because there's so many people who have that kind of hyperbole. It was like, well, it just happened. It's got to be the biggest. This is the biggest trade in Giants history. There's no question about it. And we've got it covered every single way and angle. So I want to get your thoughts on everything. But welcome. Good morning to you. It is John Lund Unleashed. Please make sure that you hit the like button first and foremost, so that the algorithm thinks we're doing a decent job. Also, make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, John Lund Unleashed, as well as keep those alerts on because I'll be doing more Rafael Devers things throughout the day. I'm going to have some interviews. I'm going to try to get some people on from Boston and talk to some people and do those separately from the show itself and all sorts of shorts and all sorts of things. So we'll be all over this thing. Plus, I do want to opine on Shohei and all the different things that are going on and Desmond Bain and what that maybe could mean. Or is Memphis kind of breaking things up? Does that mean like Jaren Jackson Jr. could be available? But anyway, that's for a different day. That's for later on today. But please make sure you are subscribed, first of all, to John Lund Unleashed, also to the Bay Area Sports Collective. You can guarantee Tommy Tolbert's going to jump on here and talk about this today, as is Polymac and Creative Tony. Amy G will have an opinion on it. Rod Brooks will have an opinion on it. All those people. A lot of former KMBR people and more. And Jeremy Affeldt, of course, former Giants pitcher, is going to have a massive opinion on it as well on the Bay Area Sports Collective. So make sure that you are subscribed there so you don't miss anything. Good morning if you're watching on Facebook this morning. My personal page, John Lund and John Lund Unleashed. LinkedIn, if you're not working and you're just hanging out, that is great. X at John Lund Radio. I am often there, so you can put comments there or right underneath the show if you're watching now or later. And we are live right now, too, on Instagram. Good morning to everyone on Instagram as I check in on our Instagram folks. So good morning to everybody. However you're watching, please, if you would come on over and say hello and join the channel and join the group and join the community, that would be outstanding. All right, before we get to everything, and again, I want your comments, questions, thoughts. So if you can guarantee yourself, get your question, comment, or thought on with a super, couple of bucks, just donate to the show. We're still trying to pay off the Uber from Boston to Cape Cod. Those pair of legs right there, that is Dr. Jeffrey 𝐟𝐸𝐵. And of course, he's doing a great job with the stem cell with my wife. The shoulder, the elbow, feeling great. The foot, feeling better because now it's been, 10 days since she had that procedure. And that's the second one she's had. So she is feeling absolutely amazing. No ice packs, nothing like that. That has been life-changing for her, and Dr. 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿 was one of the first in California to do stem cell. So you can trust him. Click on that QR code right there, and you can go straight to the website. There's not going to be no pressure or anything. You click on that thing, it'll just take you straight to the website, or you can just Google it. Dr. Jeffrey 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿, 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿. Dr. Jeffrey 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿. Also, I do the low T through him. It's absolutely great. Every few months, blood test, and then I'm good to go and feel better. Metabolism faster. I'm in a better mood, as you can tell. Maybe that's the Devers thing, but absolutely. And Dr. Jeffrey 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿 does that, and all other great procedures that make you feel great and look great, men, women, etc. Those aren't just the two things they do, but that's what we talk about on the show. So if you just look it up, Google it, 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿, 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿, Dr. Jeffrey 𝐸𝐲𝐵𝐿. Thank you very much for supporting the sponsors of this fine program. All right, let's get to it. Episode 166, blockbuster. Get it? Buster Posey gets it done. Couldn't have done it without the front office. We'll get into that conversation. Giants go for it. It's about time. They acted like a major market team, and they're finally doing that. What it means, I'll tell you what it means as far as the National League. What do we think of Buster now? Yep, they had to trade something. I've been telling you for the last couple of weeks, Kyle Harrison was expendable. I like Kyle Harrison. He was one of the top left-handed pitching prospects in the game, but it was obvious, it was sticking out that there just wasn't a place for him, and I knew that there would be a team that went, hey, well, why not give Kyle Harrison a shot? So Kyle Harrison gets that shot in Boston. Jordan Hicks, for those who complained loudly and proudly a lot when I said I didn't like the signing, 4-44, he didn't have a place in the rotation either. If I was the Red Sox, I'd try to make him a power reliever, which he was before and very good at it, throwing over 100 miles an hour. Whatever, they're going to do what they're going to do. And then, so you got Hicks and Harrison, and then James Tibbs was a first-round pick. But it's not that I didn't like Tibbs. It's just, yes, 13 home runs, has really good power out of Florida State. He's a left-handed stick and not overly athletic, and was a first base DH type. And I always scratched my head when Farhan would make these picks because I was like, he doesn't fit. A left-handed stick, which Devers is a different story we'll talk about, but a left-handed stick, not overly athletic, first base DH types. You got a bunch of those guys. You're in a ballpark where you want to hit gap to gap. You want to have athletes. That's not what James Tibbs was, so I never understood it. And then there was an A-ball pitcher that maybe has some upside. As far as who won the trade, I don't even think it's close. And we'll get into Devers. It's not all upside. There's some downside to it, but this smacks of Mookie Betts. Just like we're just going to give away a guy that makes a lot of money and is kind of a pain in our arse, and we don't know where to play him, and he doesn't want to play first base. And we'll get into that conversation in a minute. So they had to give something up. We'll get more into that. The lineup and what it's going to look like. We talked about this on Friday, especially going into the Dodgers series. They've got the pitching. It's just a matter of the lineup, and I'll keep talking about this. I don't think they're done. What it means for the NL West, what it means for the NL, the deal, what does Devers have left, and random things, no matter if Rafael Devers goes to the Giants, and it's a huge story. We will always do random things throughout the show. So good morning to everybody, and I think right away I see a big wow in the words of Billy Beane. This is a fucking A trade. Yeah, this is. I would have never seen this coming. We were talking about guys like Rhys Hoskins and thinking that was going to be a big deal. So, I mean, you're kidding me, right? Vernon, good morning to you. Dom, hello. We were with the Pops yesterday. By the way, I hope everybody, don't want to get this lost, hope everybody had as good of a Father's Day as I did. I had an amazing Father's Day, which is part of random things I'm sure we'll get through today or into today. Good morning to Joy. Good morning to John Joseph. Hell yeah. Ryan D, it is good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Christian is here this morning. Excellent. Everybody's in a great mood. Jake, Mark, good morning. Lunditix. Yeah, that's a good way to put things. Good morning. The Nutter is here. That always makes me very happy. 49er Faithful is here. Good morning to you, Ryan D. We got a good packed house today, man. Catalina is here. Another Jake is here. That's a different Jake. JJ Raider. Kyle is here this morning. Excellent. Anthony, good to see you, my friend. Look at this. Christian, our good friend, is here. He is a Lund loyalist. Bucko Sports, good morning to you. We got a bunch of people in the room today. Very, very good. Again, if you want to get your questions, comments, thoughts on the board, please make sure you hit us up with the Super Data. The 1420 is here. I'll make sure I hit everybody. JP from the 510 is here. Very good to see everybody today. All right, let's start with this. Before we get into what Rafael Devers is going to be, isn't going to be, what they traded, what it means, all these different things. First and foremost, for Buster Posey to get this deal done, he was talking on KBR this morning, and I got a couple of clips for you where Murph asked him, how did this come together and all these things, and he was giving credit in true Buster fashion to his general manager, Perry Manassian, and all that, and all these kind of things, and that's fine, and that's dandy, and that's good. I'll tell you this right now, two things. This doesn't get done without Buster Posey, period. Farhan does not pull this off, and I'll tell you why. Because Buster, walked into, after having probably some initial conversation, and he said it's over the last couple of weeks, and after having these conversations, and first of all, one of the reasons why nobody ever thought of this was they still need a first baseman, and so we'll get into the conversation where this guy plays, because at 28, I think he's too young to be a DH all the time, and they're screaming for a first baseman. So maybe something he wouldn't do in Boston, he would do here if they're really, really nice about it. But we'll get into that in a minute, because I think that's an important part of this conversation. But Buster Posey being who he is, and we all wondered, and I was at the press conference and I talked to Buster, and he was on our show, and he's a great guy, and he's always treated me extremely well. Probably interviewed him 10, 15 times. He's just a very down-to-earth, nice guy. He's funnier than you think. But he swung for the fences on this. And as a former baseball player, he knows who are the truly great players. And we're all sitting here because of what the Giants have done in the past. And we thought, well, can we get a Rhys Hoskins? Oh, they picked up Dom Smith. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did. But for the last couple of weeks, he's looking what we're looking at. Lamont Wade Jr. is a joke. They can't have a lineup like this with Patrick Bailey hitting 185, which now Bailey can come back. Like I said, I don't think they're done. Let me just stay on track here for a second. This is all about Buster Posey. Farhan doesn't get this done. And the reason he doesn't is he couldn't have walked into management and made this kind of commitment. There's 8 years and $255 million left on the deal. After this year, it's a half year this year. But this is a very reasonable contract. So after this year, there's $226 million left on the deal. You couldn't get Rafael Devers for $226 million. What's Vlad Guerrero making? 500? So put this in perspective for those who are going to bitch and moan and worry about the money. Number one, this is a major market franchise that's been acting like they're the A's for far too long. And if you watch the show with any regularity or listen to it on your favorite podcast, where you get your favorite podcasts, Apple, Spotify, etc., I've been telling you that. And now that the A's are out of the market because Sacramento is not the Bay Area market and maybe soon to be Vegas or somewhere else, they're not in this market. This is the largest single entity team in baseball. New York, 2 teams. LA, 2 teams. Chicago, 2 teams. Then the Bay Area. We have 1. So you are the largest single team in a market in baseball. Start fucking acting like it. And that's what they just did. And as a fan, bigger than even this move, and this is the biggest trade in Giants history. I'll tell you about it in a second. But they haven't been acting like it. And from a fan perspective, that's frustrating. You take it in baseball, you take advantage of the weak. You take advantage of the small. You take advantage of the broke. You take advantage of the less fortunate. That's what major market teams do. That's what the Yankees do and the Dodgers do and the Red Sox used to do. But the Giants were kind of acting like the Red Sox. Look, this is another Mookie Betts trade to me. Rafael Devers is one of the best hitters in baseball, no matter where he plays. He's on a different level. It was cool getting Willy Adames, and we were all jacked up about it. And I'm still not down on Willy Adames. This will make things a hell of a lot easier for him in this lineup. It'll make everybody's job easier in this lineup. Damn, I got to pitch to Devers at some point. This is the first legitimate bat they've had since Buster, and this guy's even a better hitter than that. Where it's like, damn, there's a guy coming up in this lineup that I fear. When's the last time was that? When? When was the last time you're like, damn, there's a bat that you fear? Like, the Giants could have guys that were hot, right? They can have guys, Chapman can get hot and Ramos can get hot and, Adames could get hot, but it's not like, damn, the pitcher or the other dugout is saying there's a guy coming up and we got to get serious here. We got to pitch to these guys because if he comes up, we're dead. He's going to get us. It's been a long time. Buster was one. I'd even go back. I mean, you'd almost go back to Bonds where it was just like, damn, I am afraid. Now, let's be fair to Buster. Really, really good. But this is a massive move for the Giants to say we are a major market team. We aren't going to nickel and dime things around. And like I said, I don't think they're done. I think they still need one more bat to compete in the National League West and the National League and to be up to the Dodgers. But this is a pure sign, and I'll play some Clayton Kershaw for you in a second. This is a sign. Buster's not screwing around. He didn't come here to just be okay. You know, in the press conference where Buster Posey came out and said, look, we want to be with the Dodgers. We want to win championships. We want in the NL West. We don't want to just give them the NL West every single year. But we sat here as fans and we went, maybe we could get Rhys Hoskins. That'd be great. And I'm not saying Hoskins isn't good. And if Devers doesn't want to play first base, I'd go get Rhys Hoskins. He's not going to cost you a ton. But this is a bigger picture here is the Giants are going to start acting like a major market team. Say what you want about Willy Adames. He hasn't come through yet, but he got Willy Adames to come here and they spent money. And I thought, well, the vault is closed. I never thought a Devers was coming. I thought Harrison would be part of a piece, but I never thought a guy like Devers was coming, not because he wouldn't have fit, not because Buster wouldn't have tried, but Buster walking into that room like I'm always talking about, you know, shaking a cup, going, can I get a dime, sir? That's how they've acted. Like, no, we're not doing that. And the only guy who can walk in and get that kind of commitment from the front office, which is the wallet, to open up like this is Buster, not Farhan. Maybe a Sabian back in the day, but not a Farhan. There's no way. They'd have laughed him out of the room. Get out of here, man. Maybe Farhan was trying to get those guys, and the front office just said no. But they're not saying no to Buster because Buster's saying, look, we can get one of the top 10 hitters in the game. And after this season, they'll owe him $226 million. Vlad Guerrero's on a $500 million deal, and they're similar. Vlad's a right-handed hitter. I get that. But they're great hitters around the same age, and Vlad's 27. They're kind of not great defensively, but they can hit the hell out of the ball. And so we were talking in spring training, Vlad's having some trouble with the Blue Jays. You think that Buster could ever get him? Knowing what we see here now, Buster, I'm sure, called the Blue Jays. Like before Farhan wouldn't even called him. At least I'm sure Buster called the Blue Jays and said, what's it going to cost? And they're saying he wants $500 million, and Buster went, 500 what? But 226 after this year, you can sell that to this front office because now you have a star. Like when the Giants play at home again, you're going to buy a ticket. Rafael Devers sells tickets, and the front office, the Larry Bear and the front office, those guys, they get that. They've been trying to get a Bryce Harper. They've been trying to get a Stanton. They've been trying to get a Judge. They've been trying to get a building block piece to come here. And I've been screaming this from the rooftops for years. You trade for the hitting, you develop the pitching. Because even if Kyle Harrison becomes, the other side of this is, he becomes Zach Wheeler, all right? So what? You can sign pitching. They'll come here. Pitching will come here. Hitting will not. So you trade for a guy who is under long-term contract, who's 28 years old, and you take advantage of the Red Sox who are acting like a small market team. This is the Mookie Betts trade all over again. And I know he's not going to like hitting in McCovey Cove, and I know a bunch of his balls are going to get, McCovey Coved. And maybe a few years into this, he bitches and moans, but today's not that day. He's still going to get a bunch of hits. I showed you the home runs when we first came in here. I mean, a lot of them were to right field. I get that. And I have an overlay that will tell you, like everybody's trying to tell you, but I don't care. He's in the middle of this lineup, and this is a big day for the Giants. All right, there's my opening salvo. Blockbuster, Giants, go for it. Let me give you a couple of things here real quick, because this is what you want to see. And then I'll hit out to the lines. And again, you want to get your question, comments, thoughts on the air, hit me up here. So a few things. Let me go with the salary. There's a million things we can do here, but let me hit something on the salary, okay? So the deal itself, 10 years, $313 million, all right? So you're like, oh, my God. All right, so he's already threw it there. He's threw it there. Now, this year, the remainder of $31 million, so you're on the hook about half that, all right? Then it goes 27, 28, all the way through the end of the contract at age 36. He's done at age 37. Now, I get it. He could be pull holes, whatever the case may be. If he's a DH already, there's some downside to that. But $28.5 million a year. So next year is 27. Then the rest of the contract is $28.5 million. So it's $226 million they're on the hook for after this season. Now, he's absolutely a tradable commodity. And at some point in a couple of years, if he doesn't like hitting in McCovey Cove and he's bitching and moaning about it, you can get a hell of a lot more than Jordan Hicks and James Tibbs and Kyle Harrison. That just wasn't a good trade for the Red Sox. Just wasn't. But again, leverage is part of this game here, and Devers was wearing out his welcome with the Red Sox. They decided to hell with it, and that's just what they did. But $28.5 million for a bat like this in the prime of his career at 28, that's not bad. That is not bad. And when you sign contracts, long-term contracts like this, then on the backside of these, a few of these years could look ugly. But Devers is a DH. I mean, I'm looking at near the bottom of this thing at 33, 34, 35. You don't think Rafael Devers in those years can be a quality DH? Because I do. And like I said, you could trade him. That's not an obscene amount of money. It seems like it 313, but it's down after this year to $226 million. So again, I just comp it to Vlad. Similar players. Yes, Vlad hits right-handed, but similar players. And Vlad just got a $500 million deal, or twice what you're going to pay this guy. So from a contractual standpoint, no big deal. From a trade value standpoint, look, I feel bad for Kyle Harrison. Went to De La Salle, local kid, makes good, top left-hander in prospecting baseball for a couple years. Everybody was really excited. At this point, doesn't mean he can't do it, but I told you this. I think he was going to be a reliever arm, real high quality, but he only had 2 really good pitches, rides that fastball up there at about 95. I like him. I like him a lot. But Webb is better. Ray is better. Birdsong had passed him. They've got some other guys like Wissenhunt in the system. They've got better. Landon Roop had passed him. Roop was not good over the weekend. I get it. He was not good. But and even if he turns into whatever, you sign the pitching to make up for it. So they have some pitching in the minors, but they can next offseason, if they're short a pitcher, they'll go sign one. Verlander will be gone next year. They can go out and sign pitching. Hitting doesn't sign here. I know Willy Adames did, but this is the type of bat that hits everywhere. Now, is he going to hit 5 less home runs, 6 less home runs because of 𝐸𝐸𝐶𝐞? He is. But as long as that doesn't piss him off, then it doesn't matter to anybody else. Okay, he hits just 30 home runs and knocks in 100. He can do that. He's got that type of power. He's that good of a hitter, and he can adjust as well. So there's that on that. I'm going to keep going through a couple of things here. Let me give you a couple of more things that we can discuss that I've got for you. This is his career. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure you have, but started in 17 and just kind of, you go through here. But then starting in 21 really is where he started to take off. 38 homers, 113 RBIs, 890 OPS, 2788 right there. Only played in 141 games, so a little bit less on the numbers, but 879, 851 in the OPS. Last year, All-Star, again, only 138 games, 2883, 871. And then this year, he's off to a great start. It wasn't because he wasn't playing well. It's just because he and the Red Sox weren't on the same page. Can you play first? And by the way, the origins of that, if you don't know, he was playing third, not very well. He's not Matt Chapman. And they wanted him to move to first because they had an injury to their first baseman and he's out for the year. And Devers said no. And they were pissed. And I get it. You're paying him that kind of money. It shouldn't be really up for debate, to be honest. Buster Posey said this morning on the radio that they haven't talked to him about it. He'll probably play DH, but man, if they could convince him to play first, now you're cooking with gas, and Flores can do the majority of the work at DH. But again, 15 home runs, 58 RBIs, a 905 OPS, and you can see all this stuff, MVP voting, all sorts of all-star guy, all that kind of stuff. But he is one of the best bats in baseball. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. He's one of the best bats in baseball. Has been there for a long time. Nobody questions whether he can hit. And it's just a different thing with him. He's one of the best hitters in the game, probably top 10 in the game. We'll get back to that in just a second. One of the funniest thing I saw last night. Let me just a couple of things. Yeah, we'll get some numbers up there and everything. Let me play. Did you hear Kershaw last night? The first few seconds of this is out of the screen because the way I edit it, and then he comes into the screen, but you can hear what he says. So Sunday Night Baseball, in which the Giants lost to the Dodgers 5-4, but that's become kind of irrelevant here. Here's Clayton Kershaw reacting to the trade of Devers to the Giants. This is on Sunday Night Baseball last night.
Great. That's wild. Buster's really doing it. Not only Buster Posey's really doing it over there. Good, good for Buster, man. He's going for it. I consider Rafi one probably, top 10 hitters in the game at worst.
Right.
So he's definitely a game changer. It'd be interesting to see what position he plays over there. I know they have a big prospect at first base coming, so it'd be interesting to see if he plays first. Obviously, I have Matt Chapman, who's one of the best in the game at third. So even if he's just DH for however long that contract is, I don't even know what they gave up. I know Harrison was supposed to pitch today, so he's a good one. He is a good one, but I don't know, man. It makes him better right now for sure.
Yeah, Kyle Harrison was in the deal. Tibbs was in the deal.
I don't know who that is, but okay.
Yeah, well, Eduardo does because he was a Florida State star.
Oh, okay. I don't care about college. I want to know what you did in the pros. I don't care about college.
Jordan Hicks was in the deal. He was the 13th pick in the draft. That's all you need to know about
still
that.
Don't care. But Jordan Hicks is a good pitcher. He's solid, so I get that.
I love it. Absolutely. I'm with you. I signed out of high school, too.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The reason why Kershaw, that was Sunday Night Baseball, and it was Giants and Dodgers. The thing that's awesome about Kershaw there, even if you don't like him, I get he's wearing Dodger blue. He's a player and he knows. Okay, Harrison's a nice player. Okay, Hicks is a nice player. James Tibbs, what? Florida State, huh? Who cares? Like, who cares? Non-athletic, first base, DH type. 13 home runs, looks okay. Hitting 245. I don't know what he's going to be. And then they took a flyer and an A-ball. This is a complete rip. I don't know what Harris is going to turn into. Maybe it is going to be Zach Wheeler. That's not good enough. That's not better than Devers. We saw Jordan Hicks. He fell out of favor with the organization. He would have been nice as a power arm into the pen, but they've got so many. I doubt they're going to regret that. They're not going to regret this trade. This is a massive trade, and Clayton Kershaw just said Rafi is a top 10 hitter at worst. That's a guy who's faced him. So I'm not saying you got to like Clayton Kershaw. I'm saying there's a guy who's like, don't care about college guys. What? Oh, they gave up Hicks and Harrison, basically. Okay. For Rafael Devers? Huh? What? Here's Dom Smith, first baseman of the Giants, played briefly with Devers in Boston, was asked what kind of a player and person Devers is. This was last night in the clubhouse.
Pitching, he wants to be in the big moments. He wants to win. So, I know this is a crazy last few hours, but we got a really, really, really talented ball player, young, right in his prime. Can't wait to see, how many balls he hit in the Cove.
What can a move like this do for a team, for a clubhouse?
Yeah, we already had some studs out that we can't wait to get back. So when you add a guy like this, perennial all-star, one of the best players in the game, one of the best third basemen in the game, you see what he's doing at the DH. It's gonna instantly jolt the lineup when he gets in there. I know him. He's gonna want to come in and play hard and show the fans, the type of player he is. I can't wait to see him do his thing. It's like I told y'all when I got here, it's a team game. So we know that he's gonna help the team a lot, but we're gonna have to still play team baseball and help get wins all together. So it's a great addition, he's. Y'all gonna see. I don't want to do too much talking. All
right, so that is Dom Smith, played with Rafael Devers with the Red Sox a little bit of last year. And again, we all know what he is. So, okay, we've talked all the upside, right? Episode 166, big story of the day, obviously, is Rafael Devers coming to the Giants. I'm all for it. I don't see any downside. Blockbuster, Giants go for it. What it means that the organization is stop acting like it's the A's. You are a major market team. And in baseball, the major market teams take advantage of the small market teams. That's just what they do. And if the Red Sox want to act like a small market team again, just like they do with Mookie Betts, make a dumb trade, that's great. Then the Red Sox have become the have-nots. And along with the Brewers and the Twins and the Pirates and all these other teams that don't have a bunch of money and at some point have to make a move that they really don't want to move or make, then that's the deal. The reason they made it, so this was just a few days ago, and Rafael Devers was asked through a translator, he's from the Dominican, if everything was cool with the Red Sox. Here's what he said.
Distractions, all that stuff is behind you and behind the team from earlier.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sweet.
Thank you, guys.
You just never know what's going on as far as things behind the scenes. But what it came down to, and I've read some stuff. And like I said, I'm gonna have some guests on later, so make sure you have your alerts on, and I'll do some interviews for you to get a Red Sox perspective. Was they were frustrated? They paid a guy a lot of money. He was playing third base, not exactly well, and they had a first baseman that got knocked out for the year, and they said, hey, Ralph, we need you to go over to first base. And he said, not going to do it. And that's not great. So if there's some downside, yeah, you're getting a guy who, to be honest, if things were going to fit perfectly, the pieces were going to fit perfectly, he would play first base. Probably what's going to happen is he's going to DH because that's where he's comfortable. And you're going to see Wilmer Flores play a lot of first base, which I don't love. Because if you're going to play Dom Smith there, who's off to a nice start, and he's a left-handed bat, which is nice, but then you take Devers and you got that left-handed bat back. Now Flores is going to have to play a lot of first. Flores has been pretty good as a DH this year, but you're going to try to make the new guy feel happy. So at least for now, he's going to be the DH because it just doesn't make any sense. He gets off the plane, welcome, you have a meeting with him, you go sit down and say you're playing first. Well, he just said that he doesn't want to play first for the Red Sox. So look, you're going to ease it in a little bit. You're going to ease this thing in a little bit. Could he play first eventually? I don't know. I mean, somebody's got to get to him because that's really where they need him. Because if you had Devers at first, and I still think you could upgrade at second, but okay, Fitzgerald at second, Damas at short, hopefully he comes around, Chapman's going to get healthy. Now you can deal with Bailey's bat because you got another good bat in the lineup. Ramos is solid. Lee is solid. I'm looking at Yaz. I want him to be a fourth outfielder. So again, I'm not out of the market. $28.6 million he's going to make throughout the rest of this contract is not an obscene amount of money. And they're still under the line. So the longer it goes with say, okay, he doesn't want to play first base. Okay, then Rhys Hoskins is still in play. Or a right fielder, there's still a couple of guys. Kyle Stowers with Miami, who's a journeyman. See what he can do. I still think they need one more bat because right now, Bailey's a zero. So you've got a zero in the lineup and you've still got to make up for those things. But the downside is, if there's a downside, it's not the trade itself. Like Kyle Harrison, not a big loss. Never have liked Jordan Hicks, nothing personal. And I don't know who the hell James Tibbs is. I know 13 home runs, great, hitting 245. He's got some power, was a first round pick, 13th overall. I get it. And then they took a flyer on a young pitcher. Okay. Maybe it blows up in their face. Highly doubtful. This guy's one of the top 10 hitters in baseball. So the deal itself, very little to no downside. Him not wanting to play first base and be a DH for the remainder of this contract, because Matt Chapman's not going anywhere and he's a great defender. So you're not going to put a bad defender at third base. So, that's just the way it's going to be. He's going to be a DH. Okay. Ohtani makes a really big impact for the Dodgers as a DH only. Now, having said that, and I know what you're saying in the chat room, Ohtani's pitched tonight, Lund. He is. He's pitching against the Padres. We'll see how it goes. If I was the Dodgers, I'd be a bit hesitant because I love having the DH in the lineup, and when he's pitching, he's not hitting. So we'll see. We'll see how well he pitches. But anyway, I wouldn't screw with anything, but okay, they're going to do that. That's fine. I'm sure he wants to do both, and they want to acquiesce to what Shohei Ohtani wants to do, and that's fine. Is it ideal that Rafael Devers at 28 is a DH only? Because the nice thing about the DH, since it's come to the NL, it's what you want to have ideally is to have not just one DH like Jorge Soler was when he came over. You want to have different guys rotating. Okay, you kind of need a half day off. You're tired. We're going to put your bat in the lineup, but you're going to be the DH. You kind of can rotate that position. It's really nice. You don't really want to just have a guy who just does that, especially if he's 28 years old. He's not a good defender, wasn't a good third baseman, but he could play first base. And it would be nice if somehow the Giants could convince him to play first base, because all of a sudden now your infield, Devers is an all-star. Adames can be an all-star. Chapman can be an all-star. Ramos can be an all-star. Lee's pretty solid. I mean, now you're all of a sudden you're going with this kind of pitching, this starting pitching, this best bullpen in baseball or one of them, and this lineup now you're cooking with the gas. So is there downside? Yeah, he's a DH. He got frustrated in Boston, a hell of a lot easier place in a short porch in right field to hit out. And if you're going Oppo, you're going against the Green Monster, and I showed you the home runs coming in here. So, yeah, it's a lot easier place to hit. In 2 or 3 years, could he get frustrated and want another trade? He could. But then he's still going to be hitting the way he's hitting, and I can pretty much guarantee you that you're going to do better than Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks and James Tibbs, and so that's what I think. But I could be 100% wrong, but I don't think I am. As far as, let me share this with you. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to share that. I'm going to do this. So this is what people want to know. How many of his home runs would have been home runs? All right, fine. Want to play that game? So this is the overlay of what his hits would have been, double, triple home runs. So, yeah, he'd have lost some home runs. There's no doubt. You can see some of them short of the wall, especially some Oppo shots that would have been home runs. The pink, the magenta, I would call it, would be the home runs. So there's an overlay of Oracle Park. He's going to lose some home runs. Now, is that going to piss him off? I don't know. As far as like the big numbers, you want to do some numbers just because I know there's numbers people out there. He has the fourth highest exit velo at 95.7. So you look at that near the top, and the hitters in front of him, those are pretty good hitters on that lineup or in that thing. McMahon's not having a great year. Olson's not having a great year, but there's some guys in that lineup that are pretty good. So you hit the ball hard, you're probably going to get rewarded. He's fourth in baseball in that. You want to see a bunch of crazy numbers? I'll just tell you this. Okay, red is good. Red is good. All right. So if you look at like batting run value and all these different numbers that all the, exit velocity, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage. I mean, look, dark red is good. There's a lot of red on that. All right. That's good. So anyway, good stuff for that as far as that is concerned. All right. So look, you didn't need me to show you that, but I'm just, I'm being analytical and everything like that and dorky. So I thought I would just show you everything like that. But I mean, everything that from a numbers standpoint for Rafael Devers hitting wise, it's a no-brainer. This deal's a no-brainer. This is what you really want to know. Let's talk about this. All right. Then I'll stop for a second and I'll get some thoughts in the chat room. Rafael Devers to the Giants. This is what you really want to know. What is this going to look like? Okay. In some way, shape, or form, it's going to look like this. They like to go right, left, right, left. So you got a lefty at the top of the order in _Jung-Hoo Lee. I don't know that he's a leadoff guy. I think Ramos has been near the top, and I think Ramos could be a guy that is still going to lead off. Adames might hit 2, but I'd put Devers there, to be honest with you. What I'd like to see is Ramos 1, righty, Devers 2, lefty, and then just rotate it back and forth. Lee could still be, Lee, you're not going to put third. You're not going to go left unless you're playing, right-hander, but then you get stuck late in the game. But anyway, point is this. Let's just say that is the lineup, right? Lee, Adames, Devers, Chapman, Ramos, Flores. You don't hit an iffy guy in that lineup. And I know Adames has got to come around. I get it. And Chapman can be up and down. But you don't hit an iffy guy in that lineup until like _Yastrzemski. And if he's on a roller coaster up, he's not that bad. But you still need that. 7, 8, 9 is not great. And it doesn't have to be with as good as good as this pitching staff is. Fitzgerald's not a bad hitter, and he's a good athlete. He's just not hitting with the power that he did last year, which surprises me. And Yastrzemski, I still think they could upgrade in right field. And then if Devers is playing first base, Wilmer can play some DH. If you could convince him into playing first base, then you can rotate that DH position. So anyway, that's a hell of a lot better looking lineup than it was yesterday. And if you look at what Buster Posey has done, and to me, this is even the bigger picture, getting Adames, even though he's been off to this start, having Devers, that's looking like a major league lineup. Like you're looking at the lineup before the season or even last season. There's no Adames. There was no Devers. I mean, my God. But Elliot Ramos is showing that he's a true major leaguer. Chapman's going to be up and down. It's just the way he does things. Flores is on a heater. I don't know how much longer he can keep that up. That makes me a little bit nervous. Yaz, I think, is more of a fourth outfielder, but, that's okay. And then Bailey's a 0. And Fitzgerald is 9th because he's got a little bit of speed. It's kind of the double leadoff kind of a situation. So if he can be a little bit more like he was last year, I mean, the lineup, it's in the middle of runs scored in baseball, and it's so weird because they're Jekyll and Hyde. They'll score 8 or 10 one night. They'll score, 2 for 5 consecutive games. What you want is more consistency. What Devers will give you is more consistency. And what I was saying is that Willy Adames is going to see better pitches. For example, if he did hit 2 in this lineup, pitcher's looking at itself going, damn, Rafael Devers is on bat. I can't screw with this guy. Because all of a sudden, if Adames is on, Devers, hits one into the gap, they're scoring runs. So that's a nice looking lineup. That's an above average major league lineup. And with this pitching, wow. And as far as all-stars are concerned, again, Adames has been, Devers has been, Chapman has been, Ramos has been. Flores is playing like it in the first half. And then you kind of get to the bottom of the order, and everybody's bottom of the order looks like that. I'd still like an upgrade in right field, and I think they could do it. Because Devers, even though you look at the whole thing, $226 million after this year, or less than half of what Vlad Guerrero's signing for. So that's a nice looking lineup. That's got to excite you as a Giants fan, doesn't it? Man, sorry, I'm gonna let that marinate for a minute. That's a pretty good lineup. There's some inconsistent hitters in there. There's no doubt, but that's a pretty good lineup. All right, there's some other stuff I'm gonna play for you. Got a couple of buster cuts from this morning. And a couple of other things I want to talk about the National League. But episode 166, about 40 minutes into the show. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on X, good morning, at John Lund Radio. On Instagram, at John Lund Radio. Facebook, LinkedIn. We're watching on the Bay Area Sports Collective and the YouTube channel. Please make sure you're subscribed. That would be outstanding. Make sure that you hit me with a like so that the algorithm will like it. And don't forget to keep those alerts on because, like I said, I'm going to do a separate interview, get a Boston perspective on this whole thing a little bit later. And also, we got some shorts and other things that we're going to throw out on Rafi Devers in a little bit, basically all day long. This is a great time to hit some supers. Remember, if you want to get your comments, questions, thoughts on the show, 100% guaranteed. A super is a great way to do it. It's only a couple of bucks and you support the show, which I much appreciate. Fuji says, great pun of the pint. Larry bet on the Pacers. That was amazing. Did anybody see us? If you saw us Friday night. So we do this for Giants games, and I'm sure we'll do it even more now with Rafi Devers, but Logan Webb was outstanding. And Casey Schmidt hits the grand slam. So they went on Friday night. But what we had the Giants going on one. We had the NBA Finals going on the other. And going late into that game, Pacers had them. And then at least Larry Krueger, and we do it with the Krug show and Larry Krueger. And Krug was at least going to cover. He had the Pacers in 6. And Ben Matherin, the former Arizona Wildcat, missed 3 of 4 free throws in the final minute. And they could have not only won in the game or been in the game, but they lost by 7. And so that was kind of fun, even though he would probably say it wasn't a lot of fun for him, but it was a lot of fun for the rest of us because a lot of us, we were just talking Giants, but then it was like, oh, okay. But yeah, that was a good time. Giants, Dodgers, Logan Webb versus Yamamoto. I mean, that was a good time. Really good time had by all. So the only thing that's bad about Bottom of the Pint that we do every Friday while watching Giants games is every time I come in here on a Saturday, like I'll leave the studio here and it's adjacent to my house and I'll put the windows open and everything. And cause I'll leave beers on the floor, but then I'll grab the empties and throw them out. Always smells like beer in here on Saturday morning. Always 100%. Fuji says, Giants beating the Larry is more focused on the Pacers getting the points instead. Oh my God. It was so funny. Those Matherin missed free throws. Oh my God. I felt bad for him, man. I don't know how much money he had on it, but he was pissed. He was really pissed. Hi, Brock. Good to see you, my friend. Where Flores is going to play if Devers is DH. Yeah, I guess he's going to have to be the first baseman. And I don't love that because it's kind of the same reason. It's different, but stay with me on here. Guys get into a rhythm. And so Flores is really playing well, hitting well. He's in a rhythm as a DH, and now you're going to make him play first a lot. And so I don't know Devers' situation. Buster Posey said this morning they're not sure what they're going to do as far as position. But let's just use logic for a second. Dude was just pissed off. It was a big deal. He didn't want to play first base. Now, maybe there was something behind the scenes we don't know about. And that's what I said. I'm going to delve into some things and see if I can't do a little bit of digging here on Devers. But was he just pissed at the Red Sox? And if Buster comes up to him, and I'm sure he respects Buster Posey, knows who he is, knows what he's accomplished, can you play first base for us? If he says yes, my God, that's huge. Because now you can rotate the DH position. He can play a lot of DH. It's just they don't want to make Flores an all-time, a first baseman all the time. A little bit older, kind of banged up last year, don't want to go through that again. So they love to have him as the DH. Plus, like I said before, you give a guy a half a day off. Hey, Willie Adames, you're playing short every day, but we want to keep your stick in the lineup, assuming you can come around. We want to keep your stick in the lineup. You can DH on a certain day, and Tyler Fitzgerald can move over to short or whatever. Just give a guy kind of a day off. Okay, Matt Chapman can hit. Casey Schmidt can play third, whatever the case may be. By the way, I'm surprised Schmidt wasn't in the trade, to be honest. But anyway, because Devers could play back up third base. But I'm glad he's not because he's looking like he's better. If I was the Red Sox, my ask would have been Birdsong, which they probably did, and they said no. Harrison, which I've told you the last couple of weeks was expendable and I thought might be traded, got traded. Jordan Hicks, a bit of a surprise because he's still got it was a 4-44 and he's only a year and a half into it. So the Red Sox are taking on, he's a good arm, but the Red Sox are taking on a lot of money in the Jordan Hicks deal. So that's kind of a surprise to me. I would have thought they would have got some more younger players. Maybe like I said, a Casey Schmidt. Like if they'd have thrown in a Casey Schmidt, I wouldn't, you still would be like, it's Devers, who cares? But now Schmidt can be, I'm not sure what the move is going to be. It's probably Schmidt out. But again, Schmidt is a third, short, second, play above average. Hit a grand slam off a position player too. So he hit a grand slam in 2 straight games, still counts. So it looks like he's coming around a little bit. So if I was the Red Sox, I'd have been on that, but they didn't do it. So that's the way it goes. But what was the original question? I went off on a tangent. Where Flores? Oh, yeah, Flores is going to be your first baseman unless Buster Posey can say to him, hey, man, we need you to play first base. What do you think? And then it's going to be you. And that's, like I said, if there's downside to the deal, it's not the trade itself. It's not the finances. To me, the finances are positive. Finances are the Giants are going to act like a major market team. Buster Posey got them to open their wallet. Thing had dust and cobwebs and everything else. And they're acting like a major market team, which changes your mindset about them. It changes your mindset. Like if you're a Red Sox fan waking up today, are we a major market team or not? We are? Oh, okay. Because some teams like the Red Sox and the Cubs, they don't act major market. They got all this money. The Cubs have Marquee Sports Network, all this kind of stuff, and they act like they don't have money. They do have money. And so now the Giants turn around and go, look, it's cool. But it's a I'm sure Buster Posey went in and went, look, going rate for a really good young hitter at this age is Vlad Guerrero at $500 million. After this year, so we pay him, he's got 31 this year, so we're going to pay him the rest of the year about $15 million. And then there's $226 million left on the deal after that. That's a bargain in today's Major League Baseball for a hitter of this caliber, but he's only a DH. I get it. But the comeback to me, or for me, if I was Buster, would be there's a guy in LA who wears 17. I think his name's Ohtani or something like that. Yeah, he's only a DH. He was only a DH last year. They won the World Series. They were pretty good. Just thinking, that's not bad. So, yeah, is that the best situation? No. But that's the downside of getting one of the 10 best hitters in baseball. So the finances aren't a problem. The trade itself wasn't a problem. Could he be a pain in the ass? We'll see. I mean, Jimmy Butler was a pain in the ass when they made the trade from Miami to Golden State. He seemed to be all right. If Devers would say, I'll play some first base, he doesn't have to play every day. Just rotate between you and Wilmer so that Wilmer just doesn't get gassed out there and he's a non-entity as a hitter. Just, a little bit of both. How about that? A couple times a week. All right. If they can get him to do that, huge. I think it's huge. Let's see. What else are people saying about Devers? Do you love it? Do you love it? Let's see here. Buster getting nothing but high praise for his trade. He should. Like I said, when you're in this situation, the downside of Devers, maybe he's a pain in the ass, plays DH. Those are the two downsides, all right? You're Buster Posey. You're trying to change culture. You're trying to change opinion. You're trying to go for it. Because when Buster said all these things at the press conference, it was like, whatever. Okay, we'll see. And my whole thing with Buster was, can he get them to open the wallet? Because he doesn't have the money. He's got to go ask for it. Can we commit to $245 million for Rafael Devers at the age of 28, who might just be a DH? And he got him to say yes. For a deal, like I said, the deal itself is not a killer. The money itself is not a killer. The only downside is he's only a DH. And there's something to that. And he didn't get along with the Red Sox so well, so what's going on with that? That's what I need to know. But as far as the risk and reward is concerned, it's time. And I mean, the thing that drove me crazy about the Giants over the last number of years is it's not really a hard concept to grasp. Pitchers will come here. Pitchers will sign here. Batters will not. What should we do? Trade excess pitching for hitting. You have to trade for the hitting. And Buster Posey, as we're seeing here, we always say, well, we don't know what kind of executive this guy's going to be. And look, I'm sure there was other guys in the front office that were a part of this, but the guy who led the charge is Buster Posey. The guy who convinced them to open up the wallet is Buster Posey. They love Buster Posey in the front office. There's not another person on earth who could have got them to open the wallet like Buster just did. I'm convinced of it. Farhad sure as hell wouldn't have done it. Hi, we're trying to get Rafael Devers. What do you guys think? Like, who's this hobbit that just came in that's laughing like a weirdo? Like, what are you on helium? Do you smoke some weed? Like, why are you laughing? What is going on? Like, Buster walks in as a professional and says, look, guys, we got one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. We got the best bullpen in baseball. We got a pitcher who can't hit. We haven't figured out first base. Right field is a roller coaster ride. We need a major bat. We need a major bat. And the Red Sox have had it with this guy. They're pissed. He's 28. He's one of the top 10 hitters in baseball. Yep, he's only a DH. Shohei Ohtani is only a DH. David Ortiz was only a DH. Think it's all right? What do you think? $226 million after the season, half of Vlad Guerrero. We're giving up Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, which saves them money. Remember, Jordan Hicks, 4-44, so you're halfway through. You're not halfway through that, half of this year. 5.5. So you just saved yourself about $30 million on Jordan Hicks. So 226 minus the 30. So now we're into the range of what, 196? What did Adamas sign for? 167? So you're really not paying that much more than you paid Willy Adames. And look, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the front office said yes. I'm not shocked that the Red Sox, whatever. The Red Sox were pissed. There's something behind the scenes there. I'm not shocked the Giants did it for that. I'm shocked that the front office said okay. But Buster Posey is the only guy who could have done that. Really good. So I just think from a standpoint of what it tells the fans, what it tells the rest of baseball, we are going to operate under Buster Posey like we should be, a major market team. That's what it is. And that's the bigger picture, which tells me that if you're going to go get a bat, then why be done? Like if you're in, you're in. And I'm not asking him to go get another Devers or somebody of that ilk. But if Devers won't play first, Rhys Hoskins should be on the table. He's got an option for next year. He makes $18 million this year. You're going to be getting him at around $8 or $9 million. Or if there's an outfielder that can be a better option as far as the stick is concerned with Mike Yastrzemski, or maybe at least it's a platoon situation where you bring a right-handed stick, something. Because still with Patrick Bedley in the lineup and the way Fitzgerald's hitting and so forth, it looks good. It looks better, but let's get greedy here. You're going to make that move. If I'm Buster Posey, I'm going to walk in and go, look, we're going to make that move. And he can move some more money off the major league roster like he just did with Jordan Hicks. I think that was huge. I think they said, okay, if you can move something off the roster, they just moved $30 million of Jordan Hicks money. That's massively underrated here. I don't know if the front office allows that deal to be made if they don't move Jordan Hicks. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that's a lot of money to be moving to help get this deal done. A couple other things you need to know about. Look at this coming up on Friday. Red Sox at Giants coming up. I mean, who's not going to that game? I'm going. You're going. And how raucous is that going to be on Friday? Rafael Devers against his old team on Friday in San Francisco. That's going to be amazing. So there's that. Let's see. I didn't put this up there, but that's the official trade itself, if you didn't know. So Devers, Harrison, Hicks, Jose Bello, and James Tibbs the third. So there you go. There's, if you didn't believe me this whole time, it is official, and that is through the Giants. Let's see. We already did Kershaw. We gave you some numbers. We gave you Dom Smith. We gave you Devers bombs. So here is Buster from this morning. I got a couple of things for you. So this is on KNBR this morning, and Buster is asked, how did this all come together?
It takes a little time. I mean, it was a lot of conversations with our team. When I say team, our front office team, the Red Sox front office team, and felt like there was a match, and ended up there was a match. And I mean, we're just thrilled to have Rafael Devers. I mean, he's as you mentioned, opening this up, one of the best hitters in the game. Just a tremendous boost, not only for our offense, just for our team overall to have an impact like this. I mean, we're thrilled, and I can't wait to see him in a Giants uniform.
Well, he sounds like a fan. We all can't wait. I'll play another cut in a second, which I think is really interesting. Something Buster said this morning again on KNBR, but let me just hit a few things of what people are saying. Like I said, I don't see the downside because you got to take a risk. And the people who are saying that there's downside here, look at the guys that they tried to get. All right. Would you rather have them over Stanton? I would. Would you rather have them over Ohtani? No. Ohtani's, along with Judge, probably the best two players in baseball, but okay. Would you rather have them over Harper? That's a close one. But they're similar type of hitters. Devers stays a little bit more healthy than what Bryce Harper does. Bryce Harper is a first baseman now for the Phillies, so you'd have that situation. So it'd be better that he at least can play a position. Harper isn't an outfielder anymore. But, I mean, he's of a similar ilk of a Bryce Harper. So, I mean, of all these guys that we were like, oh, can they get that guy? Can they get the guy? I mean, he's not Aaron Judge. I get that. But, again, you can, off the top of your head, okay, Judge is a better hitter. Okay, Ohtani's a better hitter. There's a couple other guys off the top of my head. But then the conversation probably for Devers as far as just flat-out hitting starts around, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 in that range, and you just pick them up. For Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, James Tibbs, who the hell knows what he's going to be, and an A-ball pitcher. That's what you did. And you have him under team control for the next 8 years after this one. He's going to be 36 when the deal is done. You may say that that's some downside, but I think he's going to be able to hit until he's 36. Will he have some injuries? Possibly. But it is not going to handicap the franchise. $28 million is what he's going to make the rest of the time. So this year he makes 31, then it's going to be 27, then the rest of the deal, it's about $28 million a year. There's $226 million after this year. That does not hurt the franchise moving forward. That's a fair amount of money for a stick of this ilk. In fact, it's underpaid. So, look, I don't know what went on in Boston. We'll find out. I don't know why he doesn't want to play first base. It would seem to me that, you're making that kind of money. Logic would tell you, hey, man, they're paying me a boatload of money. First base, I'm not going to actually – I'm not saying it's an easy position, but I'm saying, I'm not killing myself. I'm not catching. Hey, will you catch? No, I'm not catching. It's a lot less taxing than center field or catching or something like that. They're not asking him to do something crazy. So hopefully the Giants can convince him to do that. But even if he's an only DH, it's still a no-brainer trade. And I still comp it to like a Mookie Betts kind of a thing, and it could have that kind of an impact for the Giants. I really think that. All right, let me hit some more stuff on here. Yep, you're exactly right. Giants taking on every penny. That's why they didn't give up as much. If the Red Sox were going to have to eat some money. But again, they're taking on every penny, but Jordan Hicks is still owed $30 million. So yeah, they took on every penny, but they were also able to convince the Red Sox to take on Jordan Hicks' contract. And originally that was a 4 and 44. So there's like $30 million left on that deal. They're a year and a half into that. So technically you're 100% right, but reality is they got the Red Sox to take about $30 million on a contract, and that's not bad. Let's see. Tim says, yeah, WEEI in Boston in the Sports Hub, I'm sure. In case you're wondering, Red Sox radio is losing their mind. Pissed. Yeah, well, the thing about it is, in Boston, and I can see this, they just traded, they traded Betts a few years ago. They got shit in return. That's generally what happens. I tell you this all the time. 90% of the time when the best player wherever the best player goes, they win the trade. You have your Zach Wheelers, and there's no doubt. You have your Jeff Bagwell, Larry Andersons. You have those deals. There's no doubt. It happens. You have your Fernando Tatis Jr. for James Shields. You have those. No question. But 90% of the time, the best player, the team who gets the best player in the deal wins the deal. A large majority of the time. And right now, looking on paper, they're going to win this deal. Because even if Harrison becomes a great pitcher, and even Hicks is Hicks, they can sign more pitching. They cannot go out on the open market. If Rafael Devers is out on the open market, you think he's choosing the Giants? He's not. So, he's going to make the best of his situation. It could be down the line 2 or 3 years from now. He's like 31 years old, and he says, I'm sick of hitting in this park. You'll get a better return than what they got right now. They should. It wasn't a big return. If I'm Boston, I want another starter out of your system. If I'm Boston, I want Casey Schmidt. I think they robbed him blind, and that's why in Boston they're pissed off. Okay, you traded Devers. Okay, you guys didn't get along. What'd you get back? And that's the problem. It's like, what? This is what we got for a top 10 hitter in baseball who's signed long term, and that's the huge thing is Buster's looking at this thing going, this guy's locked in. We got this guy locked in. We got Willie Adames locked in. We got Matt Chapman locked in. Like, we're rolling. Ramos is a young player. Jung-Hoo Lee is locked in. Like, we said this a couple of years ago. Remember in 2021 when it was, all about platoons? Platoon-a-palooza! Woo! And we all knew long-term. We're like, Platoon-a-palooza is not going to work long-term. And we were looking at teams like Atlanta and everything that had these guys signed long-term, that had everyday guys signed long-term. And I said it almost every day on the radio. The Giants need to get guys who play every day. Well, if Devers were to play first base, you'd have a first baseman playing every day. You'd have a shortstop playing every day. You'd have a third baseman playing every day. You'd have a catcher playing every day. You'd have a left fielder and a center fielder playing every day. You got to give guys off now and then, but I'm saying these aren't platoon positions. These are positions that these guys are going to be out there every single day. Now, Tyler Fitzgerald could, we'll see. Right field, we'll see. If he's just a DH and Wilmer's a first baseman, then in the future, what if? So let's just have a little bit more fun here on an optimistic day. What if Bryce Eldridge is something? What if Bryce Eldridge is good? All right. What if he is? Okay, now Devers is your DH, and now Bryce Eldridge is at first base, and he can mash. So now you have a masher DH, a masher first baseman, a masher at shortstop. Hopefully will be back. Pretty good third baseman on both sides. Left fielder's pretty good. I mean, he's pushing for an all-star spot again this year. Your center fielder doesn't have to mash. Just get on base, steal some bases, play good defense in center. That'll be good enough. And then at some point, hopefully they upgrade in right field. But if Bryce Eldridge, say, next year is good, you're locked in at first, you're locked in at short, you're locked in at third, you're locked in at catcher, you're locked in left, you're locked in center, you're locked in at DH. Your number one starter's locked in. Robbie Ray is getting a little bit older, but okay. But Birdsong's really good, and pitching will sign here. All of a sudden, in one move, you went, damn. And in 2 seasons, really, you got those guys who were like, okay, we're none of this platoon shit, like constant platoon in 2021. And it worked. It's magic that year. But it was always about these line changes and moving things around, and you just knew long term. Just philosophically in sports, the more moving pieces you have, the less successful you are. And what I mean by that is if you have a solid player who plays a position, you just forget about it. Platoon guys, that's why they platoon. They're good against left, or they're good against right, or they're good against this, or they're good at night, or they're good in grass, or they're good on turf, or they're good on Tuesday, or whatever. But then year to year, they're not as consistent, where you get a player who's consistent all the time, and now they're locked in. You sign these guys. Devers long-term. Bryce Eldridge is going to be too young. He's under your control forever. Whether Adames shakes out of this thing, hopefully he does. He's around. Chapman's around. I mean, it's just all of a sudden, from a position player standpoint, this is as good as the Giants have looked since when? And pitching they'll always be able to develop pitching here. And pitchers will always want to come here. And you don't think that pitchers take a look at the Giants now and look at them under a different light? You're going to go to the Giants? Like Justin Verlander at 42 is like the only, I think Corbin Burns, who, throw the injury aside real quick. And I don't know what the Giants offered him, but he went to Arizona because he thought, you know what, Arizona's an up-and-coming team. I'm going to go there. You think pitchers in the offseason, now that Rafael Devers is here and Bryce Eldridge might be something and Willie Adames signed here, do you think they're looking at this team in a different light with Buster Posey running things versus Farhan? Will you sign a contract here? Hobbit guy? Like, come on. Laughing at dumb, what are you laughing at, man? There's nothing funny here. Just a nervous tick, sorry. This guy's going to try to sign me? This guy's your closer to sign me? So this just changes the entire outlook of the organization. Others look at it. The Dodgers, you heard Clayton Kershaw a little bit earlier. Kershaw's like, damn, that's something. You don't think pitchers are going to come here and go, yeah, with that kind of lineup and that kind of bullpen, I'll play here. I'll pitch here in this ballpark where the ball stays in. Yeah, I'll pitch in this ballpark. I'm good with that. Anyway. I didn't label this one, but this is Buster again this morning. I can't remember what he said, but let's play it and find out together. Here's Buster, more of Buster from KNBR this morning reacting to the Rafael Devers trade.
Ownership group. I mean,
he's giving credit to the ownership group.
As I've gotten to know them more post-playing career, it's very evident that this group is passionate about trying to put not just a winning team on the field. They want a championship caliber team out there, and this is a huge signal. I mean, we've pitched really well this year. Offense has been up and down. So to commit to this guy for this type of money, for this length, just really hopefully signals to the fan base that to be a San Francisco Giant means that we're our goal is to be the last one standing. It's I think it's what our fan base deserves. I've mentioned it a lot throughout my career and now post-playing career is that ultimately that's our goal. Our goal is to put a entertaining product on the field and compete to win a World Series, and this definitely helps us. A lot of season left to go, but we're in a good spot. And
so that is Buster this morning on KNBR, and I want to reiterate what he just said there because I've been very critical of the front office, and if you watch this show, if you watch John Lund Unleashed on a regular basis here on YouTube, or if you listen to it on your favorite podcast, Apple, Spotify, if you watch it on X, if you watch it on Facebook, if you watch on the Bay Area Sports Collective, I've said this a million times. You can tell when a front office wants to win or not. And this is a move that tells you that the front office, regardless of what I've said about them wanting to, they're more worried about Willie Mays Plaza, they're more worried about suites, and they've done that in the past. And they have given us very little reason to believe that their number one priority was winning. It was about selling garlic fries. It was about selling panda hats. It was all those things. And up until today, which, like I said, Willie Adames not bad, but up until today, I thought, no, they're not into winning. This ownership group is not into winning. And Buster Posey just said that we want to send a message here. He's sending a message to the fan base. Expect attendance to go up. He's sending a message to the rest of baseball. He's sending a message to future free agents, not only pitchers, but hitters, to say, look, in this lineup, you will be protected. If Aaron, this is just a huge hypothetical, and it's not going to reverse itself. But one of the reasons I think Aaron Judge didn't sign here, everybody talked about home and wanting to come home or whatever. Who's going to protect him in the lineup? There was no Willie Adames. There was no Devers. There was no, there's nobody protect me in this lineup. Why would I come here? And you're not dedicated to winning because I haven't seen you do it. And now, not that an Aaron Judge is going to be available, but let's say that their next great pursuit is player X. I don't know who it's going to be, but their next great pursuit is player X. And he looks at the organization now and says, damn, you got Devers locked up. You got Chapman locked up. You got Adames locked up. You got Lee locked up. Somebody just clicked on there and said, hey, they got to get Ramos done. They do. I'd go to Ramos right now. I said before the season, I said, he's an if. Is he the first half guy, the second half guy from last year? Looks like the first half guy, which is huge. He's been great. So you're getting all these guys locked up. Logan Webb is a linchpin of the rotation. You've got an incredibly good bullpen, but that can fluctuate from year to year. But you're going to get pitching. That's just how this park works. All of a sudden, you're a hitter. You're a free agent pitcher. You're calling the Giants. Believe me, the calls before were Farhan and now Buster. Hey, man, will you come play for the Giants? And he's saying, they're not talking about the player. They're talking to the agent. And the agent is being just flat out up front, a Scott Boras type. You trying to win? Because I know the Dodgers are trying to win. I know the Yankees are trying to win. Well, you and I have had this conversation. That was part of the selling of Aaron Judge. Are you trying to win every year? Or are you trying to get Aaron Judge so you can turn the turnstiles? Because when they were after Aaron Judge, I thought it was more turn the turnstiles than anything else, because they couldn't just get Aaron Judge. They had to get more. But he was going to be so expensive, I didn't see them doing that. So this is just a franchise-changing trade is what it is. The trade itself, huge. For for the foreseeable future, a massive trade, a massive upgrade for the offense to get one of the top 10 hitters in baseball with very little downside. Okay, he was an a-hole in Boston, and he's only a DH. For what they gave up for a top 10 hitter, when hitters don't come here at the age of 28, it's overwhelmingly in the Giants' favor. I'd do it 100 times out of 100, even if Kyle Harrison turns into Zach Wheeler and the unknown A pitcher turns into a great one, and Jordan Hicks all of a sudden is awesome, and James Tibbs is an all-star. Don't care. This is a franchise-changing trade. And Devers happens to be the player, but in terms of the way they're going to be looked at, the way the fans look at them, the way other players look at them, they're a major market team, and they're a player now. And the Dodgers, they're scared. I mean, that's how it is. Like, if they got Rhys Hoskins, there's nothing wrong with that, or whatever players we were talking about, Ryan O'Hearn. Do you think the Dodgers are giving that a second look? I played Clayton Kershaw earlier. Kershaw's like, whoa, that's something. Like, Buster's doing something there. Like, that's buzzing in their clubhouse last night. You know it. Damn, glad we played him now. They're getting Devers? Those guys are getting Devers, and that's what they gave up? Really? Damn. Like, maybe scared is too strong a word. Players aren't scared, but it got everybody's attention in baseball. This is the biggest trade that will happen this year. And the other thing I did not play for you or show you yet, let me do this. Because I looked this up today, and I'm like, okay, what is the biggest trade in Giants history? So this is from 2021, but they haven't had a bigger one since then. So this was written in 2021. So don't care about that ad. All right, number one on this list, the Cleveland trade, Jeff Kent, Vizcaino, Tavares, and Joe Roa for Matt Williams, Trent Hubbard in 1996. That is considered the biggest one at this point. This is bigger. I mean, I get it. You got Jeff Kent. That's a big trade. You give up Matt Williams. That's a big trade. I get it. But this is bigger. Number 2 on the list, Kevin Mitchell, Dave Dravecky, Craig Lefferts. Again, humongous. Absolutely humongous. This one's bigger. Vida Blue. Yep. Big trade. Vida goes from the A's to the Giants. This one's bigger. And then we get into stuff like Hunter Pence. I remember the night. I remember when he drove up. I remember the black car. I remember it was on TV. It was a big deal. They won World Series. Now, for Devers to maybe even top that, and I know on paper it tops it, but you got to win. The Giants gave up George Foster. What a killer that was. Gaylord Perry written into 1971. Orlando Cepeda, but Cepeda was past his prime. So there you go. You're gonna gave up Alvarez. I get it. There's some names in that one. But again, you look at this whole thing. Look at Javi Lopez. You're huge for the bullpen, right? No doubt. Rick Russell, huge, right? That's it. But none of those trades are bigger, and that was back in 2021, and there hasn't been a bigger – the Giants haven't had a bigger trade than that since then. So this tops what they say at MLB.com, Jeff Kent, Vizcaíno, Tavares, Roa, Cash, Matt Williams, Trent Hubbard. Matt Williams, huge. Absolutely. Getting Jeff Kent, huge. But not bigger than this. So this is the biggest trade in Giants history, period. And like I said, it's not just this trade. It's what it means, what the Giants are now. To me, in my mind this morning, Giants are different. It's like you're in you go back to like a high school reunion or something. You see somebody, whether it's a guy, a woman, guy's really successful. He's kind of dorky. You're like, damn, that's a new light. Very beautiful woman. Maybe she had braces. Or I don't know. Maybe she had one of those headsets. I don't think they wear those anymore. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, damn. Like you just look at the Giants in a different light this morning. I don't know if that was the best comp that I could have ever come up with, but you just look at them in a different light this morning. Like they're not messing around. Because when Buster Posey said that at his press conference, like we're going to win and we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to and we we're not going to give the division to the Dodgers and whatever. Do something about it. And it wasn't that I didn't think Buster would. It's because I didn't think the front office would say yes. So anyway, the other thing that is big, I'm sure that you want to look at and discuss, where are they in the National League now? All right, screw the American League for now. All right, are they better than the Mets? If the pitching holds up, I think they are. Are they better than the Cubs? That would be a hell of a – the Cubs have a ridiculous offense. And they'll probably go out and get pitching, at least one starting pitcher. Are they better than the Dodgers? Debatable. Let's see what Ohtani does tonight against the Padres. He's going to make his first start as a pitcher in a number of years. His first as a Dodger. Phillies are really good with that offense. They don't have the pitching that the Giants do. And then there are your San Francisco Giants. But my point in putting that up there is I think the Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, and Phillies are absolutely legit, as I do the Padres. But I looked at the Giants before making this trade, and I thought to themselves, they are missing it. They are missing offensively. But now you look at the elite teams, the elite of the elite in the National League. And I think it's the Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, Phillies, Giants. And it ends there. So there are 5 elite teams, I think, in the National League. I don't know that the Padres are elite. They're good. I don't know if they're elite. And then after that, Brewers, Reds, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, Braves, I thought would come around. They're still not. And then it's the dregs at the bottom with the Nationals, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Rockies. So that's kind of how I have them grouped. I'm not going to say that the Giants are the best team in baseball. Let's see what Devers does in this new park and how he adjusts and et cetera. You don't have to adjust, by the way, to National League pitching anymore. It's all an even schedule. So there's nothing like that. But I just want to see how he adjusts to the park. If he gets frustrated, whatever the case may be, whatever was going on in Boston is behind him. So we'll see. But again, I'm not saying anything negative about the trade, but I think, and you give me your thoughts, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, Phillies, Giants. That's the elite of the National League. I don't know where they are as far as 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm just saying, like, they're in it. They're in that upper echelon. And then I would say San Diego is close. And then anybody else, I don't think Milwaukee, Cincinnati, et cetera. Those teams can't win the pennant. None of those teams. From Milwaukee, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Arizona to Atlanta, and then the dregs, Nationals, Marlins, Pirates, Rockies. So that's just how I'm lumping them in. But this morning, I'm putting the Giants in there. Yesterday, would not have. That's how I see it. So give me your thoughts as well. What else do we have today? Anything I have not played for you today? Gave you a bunch of that stuff. Gave you the trade. Gave you the lineup. I'm just sorry. I got to look at that one more time. That's nice. Gave you the lineup. What else do we got? I guess I played all the video we had. Some Kershaw, some Dom Smith, bombs. Got a couple from Posey today as well. So there you go. Give me your thoughts. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Remember, after the show, if you're watching later, just put them right under here. At John Lund Radio on X if you're watching there. On Instagram, at John Lund Radio if you're watching on the Bay Area Sports Collective. Or John Lund Unleashed. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, because later on, like I said, we're going to get I'll have a separate interview from the show from Boston to get what happened to Devers. So I'll post that a little bit later on. We'll put some more shorts and other things like that up. So we'll have a bunch of stuff coming out in regards to this Devers trade throughout the day. So make sure that you keep your alerts on at John Lund Unleashed. That would be great. Oh, really? Okay. I thought they were going to be on at 11 o'clock, but Polymax Particles, 8 p.m. So doing a night flight on a Monday. Tony's got jury duty. That sounds like something Tony would have. I've never had jury duty. Probably should have. I've been on the other side of it. No, I haven't. I'm just kidding. I've never been tried or convicted or anything. Let's see. Oh, isn't that nice to say? Thank you very much. See, there you go. I went with the school reunion, but I don't know if that worked, but you know what I'm saying. It's like you're looking at the Giants in a whole new light today. That's what I was trying to get across. I don't know if that was the best one I've ever come up with, but who knows? Let's see here. Anything else today? Any other questions, comments, thoughts on this trade? Like I said, put them under the show if you want to. Hit me up at John Lund Radio. That would be outstanding. I think we have covered everything that we could cover when it comes to Rafael Devers. And like I said, Ohtani's a big story today, pitching against San Diego. The trade of Desmond Bain going to the Orlando Magic, which what does that mean for Memphis? We'll cover that tomorrow, all those things. But today, this deserved the entire show. There's no doubt about it. It might deserve more of tomorrow's show, too. It's going to be. We're not going to be done. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, if the Red Sox are going to continue to act this way, then yeah, call it. Say, hey, by the way, you want to give us him too? I mean, I don't know. And plus, it's not like they're driving a hard bargain here, you know. So they wanted to get out from under the money. I get it, but they didn't want to sign. Remember, this was an organization they didn't want to sign Betts to a long-term deal. They find, and then in the kind of the wake of that was when they signed Devers, and everyone's like, oh, okay. They kept this guy at least. And look, maybe it has this kind of an impact on the Dodgers. Maybe it doesn't, but I'm big picturing this whole thing. This changes how people feel, fans, other players, other teams, free agents about the Giants. They're a player. And that makes a huge difference. Hi, James A. Good to see you. Just double checking to make sure nobody's got anything, questions, comments, thoughts before we get out of here today. But like I said, this is not the end of the Rafael Devers. We're going to do a bunch of stuff later, like I said, all throughout the day to keep you up to date on what's going on with Rafael Devers. So, no, I'm not against this. I mean, believe me, I've been yelling about it forever, especially in Triples Alley. Like you nut a ball like 405, 400 feet. Like that should be a home run. I mean, stop it. Stop doing that. Like, I don't like it. But then, will the pitchers be like, well, then I'm not going to come there. I don't know. But I would like to see that. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like Verlander is going to be back, so maybe he's going to be the fifth guy. But again, even without Harrison, we've talked about this before. We know the 1 and 2 are. We know that Birdsong is going to be the 3. Roop, that wasn't great over the weekend for Verlander's in that mix at some point. And now you could be looking at a guy like, is 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 guy, because now you don't have the depth. The one thing, if it hurts anything, Harrison was a depth piece. HICKS was a depth piece. And now you're going to be, okay, Is Carson 𝐬𝐻𝐿 really ready? Because he's probably going to have to pitch in the bigs this year. That's just how it goes. So hopefully they know their organization. They know what they have depth wise in the organization. Position player wise, they don't have a lot, but pitching wise, we'll see. Oh my God, I'd love to go to Metallica. I've seen them a couple of different times. Unbelievable. I did see the San Francisco shows with the orchestras. That was so cool. I am jealous for those who are going. Anything else? Let's see. This makes up the Red Sox giving up bets. My God. Hopefully. If he can, look, he should have that kind of an impact. We'll see. He should have that kind of an impact. But remember, they won a World Series because of it. But I'll leave you this. This is a World Series team. That's a World Series team. Adding Rafael Devers makes them a World Series team. Could they use one more bat? I think they could. And this isn't such a prohibitive contract that they couldn't go out and get one. And they didn't give up a bunch from the farm system or anything like that. Tibbs was their first-round pick. That's a big deal. But Harrison was a player going like this as far as other people's eyes. And so, you know what? I think they traded Harrison, by the way, at the perfect time. Because I was like, he's kind of teetering. Is he still a big prospect? He's not what he was, and he's kind of down a little bit. If he goes like that, then, you know, because he's headlining this deal. You know, it wasn't a great deal for the Red Sox, but Harrison's headlining the deal. So there you go. All right, that'll do it. That's a great show. Thanks for hanging out today. We really appreciate it. Rafael Devers to the Giants. Hit me up with questions, comments, thoughts right underneath the show if you're watching it a little bit later. I am always around on X at John Lund Radio, so hit me up there as well. Please make sure you are subscribed to John Lund Unleashed. You got those alerts on because we're going to be sending stuff out today. Please hit me with a like if you do that before you get out of here today. That would be outstanding. Please do the same at the Bay Area Sports Collective. That's that big B right there. And remember, my good friend, Dr. Jeffrey 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐿, that pair of legs down there, that is right on your screen now, and you can hit that QR code right now. My wife is doing the stem cell. Dr. 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐿 was one of the first in California to do the stem cell. Doing it with the shoulder, doing it with the elbow, doing it with the foot. She's feeling absolutely amazing. I'm doing the low T with Dr. 𝐟𝐸𝐿. But the other thing, too, is that he does all sorts of other great things, make you feel great, make you look great, man, woman, whatever. Just look him up. If you didn't hit that QR code, all you got to do, Google it, use your favorite search engine. 𝐟𝐸𝐿 is spelled 𝐸𝐸𝐿𝐿, Dr. Jeffrey 𝐟𝐸𝐵𝐿, right there in San Ramon. Look, if you're in the East Bay, no brainer. If you're not, totally worth the drive, especially with all the different things he can do. So go to the website and check out all the great things that Dr. Jeffrey 𝐟𝐸𝐿 can do for you, your wife, your significant other. Feel great, look great. He is incredible. And please, it's key, tell him I sent you over there because he will treat you extra special. All right, that'll do it for episode 166, a huge one. Rafael Devers to the Giants. We'll have more as things break throughout the day. When is he going to get here? When is he going to play? All those kind of things. Keep those alerts on. And I'll also get a viewpoint from Boston. Why did things break down? So we'll do all of those things throughout the day. So keep it right here to John Lund Unleashed. And everybody have a great rest of your Monday.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!